5-2 on aggregate. All right, Chuck D, give us your vibe meter right now. Where are we at with the USMNT national team?
We vibing.
Oh,
right now, we vibing.
Okay.
It's not mind-blowing, but we vibing. And it shouldn't be mind-blowing at this stage.
I will say this is the most fun that I've had watching this team in a hot minute.
Since?
Yeah, since we were at Nations League for me.
Maybe
The Vegas one?
The
Yeah.
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
But even more so for me, I think just performance-wise, I was so excited about what I was seeing and the way that they were playing. And it was these players, and I was like, I just kept thinking, these are the same players that Greg Berhalter was working with, and they look entirely different. And it was just this hope. I felt hopeful.
I mean, Tessman was probably the only difference in terms of a player that is actually playing under Pochettino, and Berhalter didn't play him. And Mark McKenzie has grown considerably from when he first came onto the scene with Berhalter. But this is what you get when you hire a coach like Mauricio Pochettino.
Yep.
It's being creative. It's playing a different style. And finally, we saw the blueprint of what it could look like and how fluid it is. And nothing about the way they played was predictable. And that first 45, it was phenomenal.
Dominant.
It was, granted, we're not going to see every iteration. We saw many iterations of tactical flexibility and variability yesterday. Against higher caliber opponents, you might not get everything. You might have a plan B. You adjust here or there. But the great news is that we do have that variability. Yesterday, the Swiss Army knife had every knife out. It was every blade was switched on. At times, you won't be able to do that. But it's refreshing because before we had a butter knife in our hands. And that's why you hire Pochettino, like Charlie said. You need to be able to have a plan B, a plan C, adjust, tinker, not make like-for-like subs, make adjustments in games. We went from 4-3-3 to 4-3-3 to 4-3-3 to 4-3-3 to then I can't even put a number on this formation.
Yeah, that was look, the promise of when we found out that the U.S. was going to host, would be one of the host countries for the World Cup in 2026. The hope was that this young crop of players that came up after the debacle of 2018 and qualifying for that World Cup would be in their prime when that World Cup comes. And now we're seeing a manager or a coach that is tactically gifted enough to be able to put these players in positions where we can see them flourish to the point where I have trust that there will be a peak. We will see a peak around that time. I didn't have that previous. And I was a fan of Greg Berhalter during his first iteration as coach. But as a second, I wasn't a big fan. And now I'm seeing a manager that can take the pieces he had and just simply make small adjustments or allow them a bit more freedom. And that was something we talked so much about, that freedom, that flowing. To see Tim Weah on the left, to see Christian Pulisic be so effective sliding into the, centrally. All of these things were like, oh, finally. We get to see new versions of these players we hadn't seen prior.
5-2 on aggregate. All right, Chuck D, give us your vibe meter right now. Where are we at with the USMNT national team?
We vibing. Right now, we vibing.
Okay.
It's not mind-blowing, but we vibing. And it shouldn't be mind-blowing at this stage. We know this.
I'm surprised you're not at feeling good because we talked about how it's a progression.
Yeah.
You think we're this close to the final form?
I don't know about that because the team will change dramatically, I think, when you throw in Serginho Dest and Tyler Adams once they're fully fit.
And we're going to talk about that later on in the show.
So I think at the moment, you have to be super encouraged with what Mauricio Pochettino has done up until this point. And it started off a little slow, and then he's kind of worked his way up, and he's not throwing everything at these guys at once. But you could see that they took a massive step forward from the first camp to now in terms of the way that he's changing guys' positions and then the tactics in and out of possession.
Well, let's dive into some of those tactics, shall we? I'm going to send you and Nico to the wall. There was a lot to like about this performance from the United States last night. So, guys, kind of break it down for us. We're going to put up the all 22 lineup.
There definitely wasn't. And I think, this is not.
We got there.
Third time's a charm. I think this team showed a lot of variability tactically. You guys yesterday, call it what you want. We're calling it tactical wrinkles. There were different iterations of movements, of passing patterns. But Chuck, you said it best. It was unpredictable when in the last couple of projects, the processes with Berhalter, it became predictable, especially when the U.S. started dominating. A team like Jamaica sat in a low block, and the U.S. struggled to break a team down. But yesterday,
Completely changed.
it was a whole different look.
And you said it best. Against Jamaica at this stage, you can throw all these different types of wrinkles and movements, but if you're playing against a Germany or a Spain or a France, maybe it doesn't look as fluid. But from this standpoint, in the beginning stages, what I loved most is Tessman was damn near perfect in this match.
Killed it.
99% in passing, and the way he
misplaced
just
one
missed
pass.
one pass. So he would sit here and he would be able to supply either Timothy Weah or Anthony Robinson, Musa, and just keep the ball moving. He was always a constant pivot. You could always find him as an outlet. Anthony Robinson, the biggest wrinkle for me was Anthony Robinson
Do you need help
coming
getting
here.
there?
Yeah, please. I mean, coming here. And when he is in this midfield position, Timothy Weah was keeping the width wide. But then all of a sudden, from this position, Anthony Robinson would find himself overlapping Weah and getting into the attacking third, where Weah could come inside. So you're starting to see that bond start to happen on the pitch, that relationship. And then Christian was very good at making late runs out of midfield if he was ever pulled in deep and then sucked in, whether it was Latiboder or Hayden. They would try and press him, and then next thing you know, he was very good at finding these holes. As everyone's moving, all these chess pieces, Jamaica had no answer. No matter how much they wanted to sit back, they were always pulled out, and everyone was very conscious of spacing. And the movement was fantastic, which is something we have not seen under Berhalter, the unpredictability of positional movement. Pepi was very good at occupying both, if not one, and staying central, not being sucked out, and allowing Weah, Musa, McKinney, and Pulisic to really be free.
And being involved as well, right? Either in hold a play or trying to find space in between lines. This is the passing chart, which obviously has not only the association between players, the thicker the line, the more associated these players are, the more combinations that they had, but it also shows you the average position. Look at Tessman. Look at Anthony Robinson, who is not necessarily a left back. I mean, obviously, you got to find the average between here and over there.
Always over there, right?
Right, and look how close Weah and Pulisic were, because at times Weah was centrally, Pulisic was out left. McKinney and Moose and Scally even was getting up.
Look, it's a thick line. We got some action moving forward here. We got some action moving forward.
Even here. Obviously, this is an average position, but look at this partnership. And Jimmy said triangle passes, triangle associations yesterday on Call It What You Want. Look at this here between these three guys: Robinson, Weah, Pulisic.
But also
McKinney, Scally,
but also these
Musa,
three.
and those as well.
These three. You're starting to see these three. And Matt Turner had looked so comfortable on the ball as well. We're used to seeing him be a little bit agitated at times, very calm. And so much so in the 6th minute, you see Pochettino clapping to make sure that Matt Turner knows he's got his backing and the confidence is there. And you can see that he looks much better.